One of the things you said was like your teamwork, and I think that that's great. They're not all families are like that. So you have a single parent, or you have a parent where the other parent isn't involved. Maybe they're separated, divorced, and it's completely different, like scenario. You have one parent that has nothing to do with this, and you have another parent that's like all in. So I think it's about when I was trying to say was like we get anxious on our face and some of us panic. So it's really nice. You can turn to your husband and go, please, I've got to go to the bathroom. Can you handle this? But sometimes you don't have that option. And so I'm trying to give like flip it to a positive. I'm big with that in general. And I even help children do that. So when we're working with kids and they're negative, a lot of times like you'll see this, the slumped over, I can't do this, I can't do this. As kids get older, it's like, hey, let's kind of see all the things you can do. Just like one of the things I said yesterday is like praise your child for things, not even social communication related, because sometimes we focus on all that they're not doing, but not realizing all that they are doing. And when you do that yourself, it lifts you up and you're projecting that.
We just got back into town. So over the summer, we were out of the country. And so now we start school on the 24th. So now we're kind of going to kick it into high gear and start the play dates up with his buddies. He has a mega play date crew with his best friends, and these are sort of like-minded kids. And for the family that's moving, maybe, I don't know, maybe you could do like some video calls with your school or something like that just ahead of time so she sees some friendly faces, like I know she doesn't know her teacher yet, but they'll know soon, and right. You'll find out before you're there in town, and maybe you can kind of do that a couple times. Maybe the teacher could arrange like a video call with a couple of kids from class or something. Our school has really been supportive in that way, in just sort of getting creative around the ways of working with us. And we do a lot of webinars because Ari is able to verbally communicate in that setting, but not in person in the school building. So for him, that has been a way to kind of, and even if she's not verbally speaking, at least she'll see some friendly faces ahead of time. And
even the website, these websites are so like explicit now, like looking at the possible teachers and say, hey, we're not sure yet, but it could be this teacher or this teacher. And when you do go, like sometimes, unfortunately, it's, orientation, and there's not only 25 kids in the room, but there's 50 parents. So now you got 75 people in a room. That's terrifying for most of our kids. So sometimes, get there, kind of sit on the outskirts if you're going to go, but also arrange separate times. And if you have a diagnosis, which every one of you do, you present that to the school to get these accommodations in place. They can't deny you that. And to be able to have those opportunities. And if you don't have the opportunity to meet kids because you don't know them yet, that's where you tell the teacher as you're starting this process, if there's any kids my son or daughter is seemingly have interest in, they have similar likes, similar academic level, would you let me know? And then we would encourage you to reach out to that family. And sometimes it's at back to school night, or we ask the school to reach out. I will tell you that I hear this a lot. And it's interesting because that ends up being their good friend. It's almost like a bonding moment at the beginning of the school year when it's like when you start at college and you went to school and you like had your like orientation, everyone in your hall, they become your friends almost the entire time, right? Because you end up like bonding over these moments that are like, so I think those are really, good recommendations. Two of you have new schools. So really checking out those buildings are really important. So that's the kind of the preparation. What questions do you have on that part of it? And when you go in, bring areas of interest for your kids, like pictures of a summer vacation. Don't make it all about, oh my God, are you going to talk to your teacher and you did it last year, you're going to do it this year. Just make it low key, because that pressure taking off may be all that's needed for them to make that progress.
Yeah, I guess question I have is, sometimes it's hard for me to find the right people in our lives that are adults don't necessarily understand. Like, hey, your daughter doesn't talk. Like, at her last school, it was just kind of understood that Evelyn didn't really speak. She started to whisper toward the end. And I always have trouble in a brief encounter with another parent trying to articulate all this stuff to them. So I'm wondering if, like, you guys or who have insight into like some good like language around how to speak to other parents to help them even equip their own kids to navigate a relationship with
Yeah,
with
that's a really good question, and it's a slippery slope
Right.
because the word selective mutism, a lot of times that scares people when they don't understand it. So sometimes if they have a timid temperament, you can almost go the route of shyness until you get to know them. And then I am all about educating. I always make a joke that if you're on an airplane with me and you're sitting by the window and I'm by the aisle and I get in conversations because I can talk to a doorknob, I will, we start asking each other what we do. And then I go into SM and they're like sitting there sweating by the end of the flight. So I'm all about talking about this and educating your teacher, but you almost have to kind of step back with these families until you're comfortable enough to say it. But again, SM is a social communication anxiety. Most of these kids, almost all of them are going to become confident social verbal communicators. And when I say almost all, is that there's some that have additional challenges that may stay with them throughout their life, whether they're on the autism spectrum, whether they have learning processing difficulties, they're going to learn to cope, but they may not be the chattiest kid in the class for some reasons, but most do. And with that in mind, social communication anxiety, okay, everyone has something, you know?
One thing that I did is I sent an email to the teacher and with the photo and then all about my son. Oh, he loves this. He loves Minecraft. He likes, riding his bike, this with other parents. And what I put in there, I put his words get stuck, which I learned through, being Smart Center. Instead of even saying selective use, sometimes, and I even wrote, your child might come home. They met a new friend and he doesn't seem to talk that much. And really what's happening with my child is his words get stuck, but he's a really cool kid and this is what he likes to do. So then at least there's like a heads up, the words get stuck. So, because some kids actually are sensitive, are like, oh, so-and-so doesn't like me because they don't talk to me. We have had that. So we said, no. So anyway.
And then you get the helpers in class that want to help them, right? Right? They want to help them. Then our kids get dependent. That's a whole nother podcast.